Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the Vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. We always appreciate everybody that's tuning in live, listening in the replay. We always get good feedback from everybody uh, that tunes into the replay. Actually reaches out via the email hfrn.vault at gmail.com. We actually are within the next day or so we'll have the Christian that Trust Christian email back up. We may have to go ahead and start using the domain name in the site, but we definitely got that email back up and running. Just give it a day or so. You know how technology is, but definitely excited about having that back up and running. Once again, that's either hfrn.vault at gmail.com, and just give it a few days if you listen to this episode immediately, which is broadcasted on the 10th of November. But on the back end of that, you can use hfrn.vault at gmail.com to reach out. We actually have a webinar coming up for the foundation families, the families that are in foundations that have gone through our training. And even if you're not a family that's gone through the foundation training but want to go through, we actually are going to have some families. One of the families that we work with closely, a well off family at that, come out and do a episode with us. Large family, uh, as far as their asset holdings. Gonna see if they're gonna come out and do a quick episode with us. Kind of share with you all the seriousness of the times that we're in, and just overall how we work with our families. This is a family, so it's a family foundation environment. So we're gonna share with you all how to, the families that we work with. Just give you a little bit of a example of possibly what your portfolio may or may not look like and how we work with those families. So, the diversity of the families that we work with. So, this is the episode, the Vault episode 441, Trust Investing. This is one of those episodes we got to do. Definitely is going to be a little broad in stroke, but rather for us to have it broad in stroke than for people to continuously reach out to the Vault, come in with an employee mentality, coming with a what is that a savings mentality, and we're focused there here at the Vault on investing. So we have to go ahead and establish right away that this isn't financial advice or legal advice. So many people want to cry and hem and haw in the world and say, "Oh, this person told me to invest in this, told me to invest in that." You know, we could talk about it at the Vault because a trust is a contract. So when you talk about the contract, is it an investment or is it not? See, that's the question that people are going to have to answer when it comes down to it. Because when it's an investment, money's at risk. When you're investing, things are at risk. It's not savings, it's investing if it's at risk, which means there is a potential loss. So we're going to talk about it today. This is the Vault episode 441, Trust Investing. Well, Trust Christian Vault with trust and investing, but things are at risk when we're investing. So we could lose it. We could lose time. We could lose energy. We could lose money. This is where the mentor sat down with us as soon as we got involved in this space and said, you got to count the opportunity cost loss. That means you got to count the downside first. See, great investors count the downside. What's your potential loss before you invest? What's your potential loss before you invest capital? Before you invest time? Before you invest energy? One of the mentors states it as you got to investigate before you invest, Trust Christian. We'll repeat it again. You got to investigate before you invest. What does that look like? When you come to the Vault, how many episodes have you listened to? People reach out and they'll say, "Oh, I listened to a little bit of one of your episodes, and I heard about one of those trust things, and I got to get going in it. And all I want to do is find out the price. So when I find out the price, then I can get going." But they got a job. I heard a little bit of the episode. We've had trustees for years. It sounds almost amazing. It sounds almost unbelievable. Where a trustee will come to the phone and say, "Yeah, I listened to all 300 or 400 episodes before I reached out to you, before I reached out to the vault. So I could clearly know what you were about. So we could clearly get a feel for what you were doing. So we can investigate before we invest our time and our energy into the vault." But how many people do that? I just want to get going in one of those things because I just want to get into something, and I heard about it through the internet. Everybody's talking about it. I want to get into the private sector. Everybody's talking about it. Is it? I want to get into one of those private trust things because that's what everybody's talking about over the internet. You're the only one that's talking about the training. You're one of the few on the internet talking about the training. I don't just want to get it sold to entity from a lawyer. I want to get trained. Or do you? Because when you want to get trained, you come to class. That's investing. You're investing your time for your family estate. But see, Trust Christian and Vault, we understand most people, they don't look at it as investing. You want to know what they look at it as? You ready? You can guess it. Spending. Why am I going to spend my time in a training program? Why am I going to spend my time? Why am I going to spend my energy in learning how to be a quality trustee when all I need to do is just get in trusteeship and it's all going to fall out of the sky in my hands? That's not how it works. That's why we have the training webinar coming up, because it's about education. It's about trusteeship. It's about learning, which is investing. You're investing before you invest. Is this so hard to get? Trust Christian Vault, I'm investing my time in the trustee training. I listened to the video once. Y'all don't even want to know that Trust Christian Vault. We slept almost at the law library, falling asleep at the law library on Saturdays. Where are you at on Saturdays? You're watching college football, huh? You're watching college basketball, March Madness, huh? You're going to the family barbecues over the weekend, huh? During the summertime. You're going down to Tulum in Mexico, huh? So then, that's why we're going to bring out a few of the trustees that they'll come on the line and say, well, we've been listening to all the episodes. We've been going back and listening to all the materials because we're investing in our family estate. When you're investing in education, you're investing in your family estate. What are you risking? You're risking some relationships. Oh, where have you guys been? We've been in the library over at the vault studying. What have you been doing for our family estate? Besides watching other people get rich, other people get wealthy. Trust investing. When you invest, you're putting things at risk. It's almost a sacrifice. You're sacrificing time, you're sacrificing money, you're sacrificing energy. Let's go there. Are you spending time? Are you spending money? Are you spending energy? Or are you investing it? The difference between spending and investing, from the way it looks, is you're looking for a ROI. Ain't that what they call it? A return on it what? A return on investment. So yes, you gotta study. Yes, you gotta get the consultations and go through the training. Not sit here and say, oh, I'm gonna call Trust Christian in the vault when I got a problem. I'm gonna call Trust Christian and Vault when we got a problem because we didn't want to study. We didn't want to be financially independent. We want to be dependents. That's okay. They got a trust for you. It's called the Social Security Administration Trust. It takes care of welfare recipients. When you get old enough in life and you can't take care of yourself and you don't have enough money in retirement, there's a thing called the Social Security Administration Trust. And yes, it'll take care of you. What little bit it's going to allow you to live on. So if you don't invest now, don't worry. You're going to pay later. You're going to spend later because you didn't invest up front. Well, what do I need to invest in, Trust Christian in the Vault? What are we really investing? Are we investing money? Well, if you're not just investing money, you might be investing time. Time going to the workshops. Maybe you invest in going to the webinars and the workshops to see if it's something that you really want to do. Or is it just, hey, I heard about one of those things. I heard about it on the internet. So I know I don't even know that it's over 80 different types of trust. Are you investing to find out that it's over 80 different types of trust? So when your gurus are on the internet, your favorite rapper, your favorite celebrity is sitting on the internet telling you to go get in some entity, but they didn't tell you which one. How slick was that? That's like them selling you a cryptocurrency. How many celebrities have you heard get sued per the SEC for what? Telling you about a pump and dump. And all they had to do was pay a fine. We could go through the names. Your favorite rapper. Your favorite boxer. Your favorite celebrity. They got sued from who? The SEC. For what? Because they were selling false information. Pump and dump schemes. But because maybe you didn't want to invest. Because, this guy, he's 7 foot. And he put his name behind it. Because he know how to dunk a basketball. Does that mean he know how to invest? We were sitting out one of our mentors at the beginning of trustee training. When we first started talking about trustee training. And he said, everybody that you deal with, you should get them to go talk to 3 lawyers before they come to you all. Just so they can invest in learning before they come to you. But how many people have we told to do that? And they did it. Now, Vault works off referral. So we've done very well. Done great work for years. We'll continue to do great work. But for the newcomers, did you go to 3 lawyers? Did you go to 3 lawyers and say, hey, 3 lawyers, what type of trust is the best trust to be in? What are the best assets for us to be investing in right now? Did you go to your financial manager? Did you consult 3 different financial managers before you investigated? Before you invested? Well, I don't know 3 financial advisors, credible financial advisors. Maybe you do. What did they say? Oh man, I gotta invest not just capital, I gotta invest time. Time is one of those assets you really can't get back, but you can. Because see, people don't understand when they work a job. We're gonna break it down for all y'all that got jobs. When you got a job, you're spending time. When you're an asset manager, you're looking for a return on investment, a return on capital, a return on equity. ROE. They don't talk about that in the public, do they? Do they talk about ROE? Return on equity? Return on your time? Return on your energy? Or do they just talk about, oh, it's a return on investment? Yeah, but what are you investing? You're investing your time. You're investing your energy. That's equity. It seems as though they had a lottery that was $1 billion, and people are just playing a lottery out here, trying to get rich quick. That doesn't work in wealth building. Generational wealth building means you're about to sacrifice for a few generations. Did your parents do that for you? No. If they did, that's great. But if they didn't, then you should already know you're going to have to sacrifice a lot more energy than your parents did to provide enough for you to say, well, you know what? I got to do something different than what my parents did. And if you got to do something different than your parents did, of course you're going to have to invest more time. Of course you're going to have to invest capital in education. If your parents didn't do it, you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to invest in the education. You're going to have to invest in getting the materials that are necessary in order for you to build generational wealth. This word is being thrown around like it's some daggone happy slappy word. Oh man, we over here building generational wealth. Yeah, that's like say I'm in trust. That's what they say. We over here building generational wealth. They building generational wealth, but they not telling you how to pass it along properly from one generation to the next. That's why we doing the private family foundation workshop, because you got the gurus on the internet telling you they building generational wealth, but they not in the foundation. But for some odd reason, your athletes, some odd reason, your celebrities, for some odd reason, your major corporations, they got foundations. So if your favorite celebrity isn't even in foundation and sharing with you the type of foundation they're in, one, and two, the team that they have around them for the foundation, how you gonna build generational wealth? Because you heard it through earshot, right? And this person's supposed to be your guru. This person's supposed to be your leader. But then let's go over to the politicians that y'all just voted for in the elections. Are they telling y'all how to build generational wealth? Is the public school system telling you how to build generational wealth? Is the politicians even telling y'all how to pass it along tax free? The politicians, the ones you voted for, are they telling you how to pass along your hard earned cash, your hard earned equity, your hard earned energy? Are they telling y'all how to pass it along tax free? Go look at the laws they got in place. Oh man, they gave a tax benefit if you got less than this amount. Oh really? Are you doing it in the proper vehicle? Or are you doing it in your name? Well, if you do it in your name, then you get the deduction. Right. Why you think they giving out the deductions if you got it in your name? Because you got to investigate before you invest. You got to investigate. How do you investigate? You got to sit there, you got to take some time, and you got to go through the information. Well, it's not that much information over the internet about the private sector. Right. So you got to invest in the relationships. See, we know how it goes in this sector. We've been over here for years. People in this sector don't even want people that aren't in this sector over here. That's a hard truth. You want to know why? Because the politicians ain't telling you. They over here. They not telling you this. Why would they tell you how to pass along wealth from one generation to the next? Have you ever worked next to a Kennedy? Have you ever worked next to a Clinton? Have you ever worked next to a Bush? You think you gonna work next to a what they call it? Obama? You think you gonna work next to a Carter? You think you gonna work next to a Biden? You're not. For a reason. Because they investigated. Most of your politicians are ex-lawyers. Go do the research. Most of your politicians are ex-lawyers. Most of them got law degrees. So that means they have a general understanding of contracts. That's how they know how to talk to y'all. So slick. They tell you to go out and buy a house. Really, you didn't buy a house, you got a mortgage. Trust Christian know not to control everything. Did you investigate in the terms of the contract? Well, I read the contract. It says I'm a tenant, and it says I created the contract, and then I'm the tenant too. Right. So all you did was open up a debt obligation. But then you got people talking about the debt obligation doesn't mean anything. It's a contract. You signed it. Well, the other party, the bank is a legal person, right? What, what are you operating out of? The Social Security Administration trust number? Is that what you operating out of? Did you investigate? You're right. I am operating out of the Social Security Administration trust number, right? When you gonna stop doing that? When you gonna create something? When you gonna create an asset? Did you investigate on how you get rid of utilizing one one entity number and then get into another entity? Did you investigate? But hold on. Let's go there. We gonna go there. So then we sit in front of somebody the other day. This person says, "Oh, I'm in an S corp. It's all these tax advantages for an S corp." First of all, who owns the S corp? You do. That's might as well. You might as well call it an alter ego. You might as well call it a glorified alter ego. Sole proprietorship. S corp, sole proprietorship, almost the same thing. We're not giving legal advice or financial advice. You can go look it up. But this is the cup of tea of the day. This is what the lawyers and accountants are putting people in. Oh, go get in the S corp because it's all these tax advantages. What major corporation do you know that's in an S corp? Major corporation. Is Zuckerberg in the S corp? Is Musk in the S corp? Is your favorite rapper's rapper in the S corp? But they got you in an S corp. And they ain't gonna sit in front of us and say it's all these tax advantages. Because they didn't investigate. They just went along with someone said. They don't even know what's the oldest standing entity in the United States on the public side. Corporations. Then you got LLCs, which are limited liability corporations. Limited liability companies. And then all of a sudden they got this new entity out called the S Corp. And it's not the newest. They keep coming out with entities on the public side. But somebody wants to sit in front of us tell us that a daggone S Corp got all these tax advantages like a C Corp or an LLC doesn't. When in all actuality, when you go file for it, what do you file for first? LLC or C Corp? On the state level. Or when do you go file for that S Corp? After you created what? But see, these are the conversations that we had to bring out in the public to bring awareness to this conversation, just like you didn't learn the private in what? Public school. Did you learn about the language and contract law in public school? You got to seek out the private alternative education. That's the difference. When you invest in your private education, of course you're looking for a return. But how can you go wrong investing in yourself? How can the family estate go wrong if it's investing in your education? How do you get the family estate to pay for your family, for your education? How do you get the entity, how do you get the company to invest in your education, to invest in its education? Don't lawyers go and do continuing education? Hold on, hold on. The medical people that you put so much trust in, your doctors, don't they go to continuing education? Huh, hold on. Let's go there. Don't your accountants go to continuing education? So your accountants go to a continuing education. Your doctors go to a continuing education. Your lawyers go to a continuing education. But I don't know if I got 350, because I got to go to the football game. I got to go to the basketball game. I got to have cable this month so I can watch HGTV. Really? I'm trying to take the shortcut, Trust Christian in the Vault. Can you just give me a book? When we talk about the relationships, not the book. You think you're going to just get around having to invest in. We'll give you an example of what trust investing looks like. So, there was a workshop we went to earlier this year, cost $3,000. It was more than that. So, if you're afraid to invest more than 300, you're not going to invest 3,000. And we've been in this for years. So you think you're going to get into 1% information and you're not going to have to invest. The family's not going to have to invest. Sending you abroad to get information, to get relationships. Oh man, I don't know if I got $3,000 for a 3-day seminar. I don't know if I got $3,000. I don't know what the family estate can scrounge up. $3,000, a minimum of $3,000. Well, let's just keep going with it. The airplane ticket cost over 1,000. That was another 1,000. 4,000. You think wealthy people do things at a motel or a hotel? They're not. Guess what? Wealthy people are doing events at hotels, not at Airbnbs. So when you're traveling and you think, "Oh, I'm gonna go get an Airbnb," you're gonna be right next to the action at the hotel where the actual asset managers that are managing the 1% capital, or you gonna go get an Airbnb. I'm gonna stay around the corner. I'm gonna stay on the other side of town at the Airbnb. I'm not gonna stay at the host hotel because you don't have $400 a night. Because you don't have $500 a night. Or is your family estate investing in you traveling? People say, "Oh man, I don't know if I could travel to a workshop in the States." What happens when our mentors and us, we talk about traveling internationally and getting to workshops in the Cayman? See, times have changed. That's all it is. Times have changed. People think, "Oh, we went through X code COVID times. So now everybody thinks you could do something through the computer." If y'all really think that private information is going to be disseminated through some daggone computer, you're wrong. It's in private rooms where people in this environment, they're looking to protect their family estate from one generation to the next. Maybe you've been listening to the vault long enough. Maybe you've been around this information long enough. You should already know this is asset protection. That means it's information protection. People are not just giving this information out for the cheapski. So if you think that you should be getting something for the cheapski, this isn't for you. If you don't think you need to go out and create assets, this isn't for you. Investing, give it up. Oh, I got to start a business, but businesses fail within the first 5 years. And then you see, we've actually seen this year in 2022, we've seen more companies say they've cut jobs than we ever have been alive. These tech companies that y'all sitting on this technology platform, they done cut more jobs and have more hiring freezes than we ever seen. This was more hiring freezes and more cut jobs than 2008, 2009, and they try to call that the great financial crisis. But what you about to see? The great corporation crisis? No, you're seeing companies become more efficient. That's all. Employees are the greatest cost to a company anyways. So what are companies going to do with the money that they were supposed to pay the employees? They're going to invest it back in the company. Research, R&D, which is a daggone tax write-off. That's investing. They're investing it back in the company as research and development, not in employees sitting at home taking coffee breaks, texting their friends while they're working. Did you not know that? That's what they're doing. You think these tech companies didn't study people while they were at home? They were studying to see if people were more efficient. They weren't. The work from home society, it already died because they need to, they need to watch you, police you. They need to, make sure that you're doing your job. So they had analytics programs, data analytic programs sitting there monitoring people working from home. And they found out that people weren't working. So why do you think every tech company, most tech companies, which is pretty much held up the states in the world for the most part, is cutting and hiring, freezing jobs right now? Because they found out the people that they thought they were investing in, they weren't investing in the company. They were trying to get over on the company. Well, I could be efficient from working at home in my pajamas and texting my friends. Right. And that's why they just got laid off. What over at Facebook. How do you lay off 10,000 people? You couldn't even imagine 10,000 people working for Facebook. You couldn't imagine it. It's like, dang, they need that many people to manage one website? Yes. And they fired them all. Because they were sitting at home on beanbags, drinking coffee, doing nothing. You don't get fired for nothing. If you're a productive employee, you don't get fired. They got fired because they had lack of investment back in the company. What were they really developing? The company's been accused of tampering with elections, all types of stuff. They've laid off people now because lack of investment. And they're going to put that money right back in to the shareholders' pockets, to the investors. Remember, you got to investigate before you invest. Who invested in the company? The shareholders. They're putting that money back in the shareholders' pockets. Oh man, I gotta trust investing. Yeah, because if you don't trust investing, what are you gonna trust? Spending? We used to sit here and think about that all the time. About how so many people they spend money on clothes. They spend money on cars. It's not even a business vehicle. That's how you know they're not investing. It's not even in the company name. Because they're spending. They're not investing. Is it a company vehicle or is it a personal vehicle? That's trust investing. Are those personal clothes or are those company clothes? That's trust investing. Is it a personal healthcare plan or is it a company healthcare plan? That's trust investing. Is it a company property or is it a personal property? That's trust investing. That's the difference. Trust Christian Vault, it ain't easy, man. I'm dealing with all these people in the public, and they don't really understand about all this private and the trusteeship stuff. So how am I gonna make it happen? You gotta trust in your education. But if you don't have the education, you gotta invest in the education. And then you have to invest in the relationships. So you can get around the people that do understand it. So they can get you in front of the right people. See, at the vault, we trust investing. We've invested in people for years. You got a couple resources in life. You got the money, but you also got the people. We invested in the people. Cause when it comes down to it, whether y'all know it or not, people in our sector, how you think you got a job? Somebody created a job because they were investing their energy so people can work for them. So we invested in the people. But are you investing so you can have people work for you, work for your family estate, like the Obamas, like the Kennedys, like the Clintons, like the Bidens, like the Bushes? Well, I don't know if that's right. I don't know if I want to hire. I don't know if I want to do that. Good luck. Keep spending your time. But for the ones that do, that's what it's going to look like. In Obamas, the Kennedys, the Clintons, the Carnegies, the Rockefellers. And that's why you're never going to work next to one. The Fords. You're never going to work next to one, but you may work for one. Because these people understand trust investing. They create assets. Are you trust investing? Creating assets for the family estate? Assets that they don't need you to be there? Oh, trust Christian Vault, I don't know if I could do that. I don't have that education. You're going to have to figure it out. You're going to have to invest in some relationships. You're going to have to invest in some education. You're going to have to invest in the education. So many people come to us and they say, I know that there's an educational gap. Right. That means you got to study. What else are you doing? Well, don't I gotta, can't I watch TV while I'm learning this? Didn't you spend enough time watching TV already in life? Didn't you spend enough time doing leisurely activities before you started getting into the position where you're looking to build generational wealth? Didn't you spend enough time doing that? Now you got to invest your time so your children's children can have a fighting chance in the world. Where are you not paying attention to the UN? Look at the world around you. Are people looking to invest, or are they looking to have somebody spend? Just look around. Are most people investing, or are they spending money? Are they doing things personally, or are they doing things in a business? That's the difference between trust investing. Are they doing things personally, or are they doing things in business? But I own the business. I own my cars. I own my houses. Did y'all know that they say most people that have less than $1 million net worth, they say most of their wealth is tied up in what they call a house. They keep spending money because they think that the house isn't a wise investment. That's what they say. If you get a house, it's going to be a great investment. This is what the public is purporting. This is what the politicians are sitting on TV that you just voted for say, yeah, you know what? Where do most Americans end up building wealth? They end up building wealth in a house. A house, who do you know even has a deed to the house? At the vault, we do. The mentors, the trustees that we work with, sometimes they have deeds. Do you even know somebody that has a deed to the house? That's ownership, not a mortgage. A mortgage is a debt note. But no one in the public wants to address this. Why? Because they don't trust investing. They trust spending. That's what they do. They spending. And when it's a hard thing because it's a thing called cognitive dissonance. It's hard. It's a hard reality to know that, man, you know what? I was fed some information that wasn't accurate because I didn't investigate to find out that a mortgage is a promissory note. It's a debt note. And once I come to this harsh reality, what am I to do, Trust Christian in the Vault? Am I going to sell out of my position? Am I going to keep spending money? Or I'm going to go start a real estate company. And then I might think about co-signing. I might think about co-signing with a company that's going to own the property and I'll be a property manager. But is that hard to realize in the public? It is. Why? Because the people that you're dealing with got public educations and they don't trust in investing because they're scared. Because they don't know. Because they've been around people that have given them a conflict of interest information. Then you got some of these states talking about, oh, you can homestead. It's a personal asset. It's a personal residence. It's a homestead. You think assets can't get frozen? You think you can't get sued out of assets? But it's a homestead. Who created that law? Statutory or private? Is that a private contract or a public contract? Did you investigate before you invested? Or you just heard, oh, well, in the public, they say you can homestead because it's from the public. That's why. These are interesting conversations that we have with our trustees all the time. We appreciate our trustees for reaching out, for people reaching out for years now. People say, oh man, I got to get to one of those workshops. But they got cable. How you build generational wealth? You got cable. That's a fact. But I lost money doing investing before. Well, what did you learn from it? When you trust in investing, you understand that it's a process. You don't get rich off one transaction because that's called lottery mentality. When you trust investing, you understand that you actually get wealthy, you build generational wealth over a series of transactions. Oh, did Trust Christian in the Vault say that? So it might take years to build generational wealth because it's a series of transactions. Or do you have what you call generational lottery mentality? Each generation, they just working to see if one of us can hit the lottery. Now, who do you know is really passing along generational wealth from one generation to the next from hitting the lottery? We don't know any, but we could parade people across the stage, as our mentors say. We could parade them across the stage where we are sitting in the room where these people have built wealth over a series of years. A series of transactions. That's investing. A series of transactions. You don't get wealthy off one transaction. That's lottery mentality. That's not investing mentality. That's lottery mentality. And you have to question it every time you look at an investment. Am I looking at this as the, oh man, this the thing that's gonna put me up there? This the thing that's gonna beat me, that's gonna get me up. This the thing that's gonna get me over the hump. Or are you looking at it as, all right, the average return from the stock market is less than 20% every year. So if we get anything above 10 and anything less than 20, we're doing okay. Compound interest says if we do it over a period of years, it's going to compound and snowball. Or you got the lottery mentality. If I get it done one time, it's going to be all good. That's the difference. Are you investing in the relationships for the information that you don't know? Because some people think they need to know it all when you don't need to know it all. All you need to do is invest in the relationships. The vault is not a lawyer, the vault's not an accountant. But guess what? We got some of the best accountants around us. We always tell our trustees, find accountants that got malpractice insurance, that you can sue them if they do something wrong. But how many people are going to go out and establish relationships with accountants and lawyers that you can sue? Well, those relationships cost a lot of money. They told me I need to put them on retainer. Why would you be giving a lawyer a retainer fee when you don't need them? Go look at the short that the Vault created that said you need a lawyer when you need a lawyer. But no one said that you didn't need to establish relationships. So did you go to the meetings for the American Bankers Association? Did you go to your local real estate meetings? Even though you're not a real estate investor, you're going to do the research and get around other top real estate investors. But oh no, no, it's Thursday night football. So I can't go to the real estate meeting because it's Thursday night football. It's the what is it? Some championship. I gotta sit down and watch the championship. So no, I can't go to the real estate investor meeting. That's why people aren't gonna be wealthy. That's why they're not going to pass along wealth from one generation to the next. It's not rocket science, ladies and gentlemen. But the ones of us that do, we built a team. Investing in business is a team sport. Where did we go? We invested for the future. We were talking to one of our mentors. We have a lot of mentors that have had private jets. And it's always like a back and forth about this, especially ones that have had them, ones that fly on them, and ones that haven't had them, but particularly the ones that had them. And it's always like a back and forth, always. But this is how we know. You know that they invested before they invest. They trust investigating. We said, one of the mentors one time says, having a private jet allows me to get back to my family faster from business meetings in other time zones. So they built up enough wealth to not fly commercial. See, while y'all talking about flying commercial and thinking that's your only route, that's because you associating with people that fly commercial. But see, we associate with people that don't all fly commercial and they actually got private jets. And so when the mentor tells us, yeah, trust Christian Vault, the reason why we got a private jet is so we can get back to our family faster from the assets that we built and the businesses that we built. So we can get back to our family because our family was more important, because our family was still important. So we got a private jet to get back to our family faster. Trust investing. That jet is an investment, not just something to fly around. and have greenhouse in what y'all call global warming BS? How come all your favorite CEOs got private jets? And they the ones sitting on TV telling y'all that they focused on ESG. They're not. They're utilizing it to get back to their families, to get back to other assets. And when we heard that, we knew they knew what they were talking about. Trust investing. Is it some blood, sweat, and tears that you got to put in to get a private jet? Sure. But what do you need the jet for? The mentor told us, I wanted to get back to my family faster. That's trust investing in your research. Because we've gone back and forth with mentors about private jets before. It's one of those things you go back and forth about, you know. Oh, should you mess up the earth? You got a jet, you know, it's this greenhouse, all this BS, all this carbon BS. And said, no, I wanted to get back to my family, my children, faster than sitting at some airport getting flights canceled. So if you want to continue putting up with that, you may not invest. But for the ones that say, is it worth it? We talk to the mentors. We trust investigating. We trust investing. Mentor said, yeah, this helps me get back to my family faster. That might be hard for some people to grasp. But some people might want to go sit at a commercial airport. That's why you gotta trust investing. Because there is a return when you put in the work, the blood, sweat, and tears, so you can get back to your family faster. Instead of sitting here talking about some ESG BS. Oh, because you want to go sit at the commercial airport where people are having threats and all this type of stuff and cancel flights and, all this other stuff. Yeah, right. So, trust investing. Well, not only do people have charities to what they say they're going to do good with the charity, right? Guess what? They're investing with the charities. Hold on. They're investing with the charities, and the charities got a 501c3 designation, which is a tax exemption. So it sounds like they're investing tax free. So you got to trust investing tax free. Okay. But how do I get into that? I don't really know how to go about doing all of that. You got to invest in your private education. Your family estate has to have $350 to invest in your private family estate. Or are you going on vacation this year? Well, it's the end of the year. I get 10 days. Hmm. Why do you think they call it the 1%? It's not called the 1% for no reason. It's because people in our sector, we trust investing, not spending some time trying to get away from the life that we don't like, called a vacation. Trust Christian know not to control everything. Trust investing. That's what you can trust. In your education, in the relationships, the information. That's what you can trust. Can you trust yourself? We get people come to the vote all the time and say, "Well, I don't have anyone really around me that I could have in trusteeship with me." I wouldn't trust anybody in the trust with me. I wouldn't trust anybody with my family estate if I passed along right now. That's how you know the world, in your view, might be broken. And you got to elevate. You got to trust investing in finding new relationships, trust investing in new circles of association. That's what. So we appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens into the replay. Trust Christian, own enough to control everything. hfrn period vault at gmail.com is the webinar. We're going to be, the email that you all can reach out. We'll get over the information that we need to get over to you for the webinar. Um, we actually already have our next workshop planned out. It's going to be on January 14th. We're going to be getting the flyer together for you all. So just be on the lookout for that. We already have the date set. It's January 14th. Just be on the lookout for it. And then we also got the Trust Christian email. It's pretty much back up and running, but don't email it on the 10th today. Feel free to give us 24 hours and we'll have that back up and running. And that's how we're just so proud of knowing the mentors that we know because we trust investing. When you trust investing and relationships, you get the information that you need to get the job done. And that's what we do at the vault. We get the job done. Trust Christian know enough to control everything. Trust investing. Look forward to hearing from you. hfrn period vault at gmail.com. Once again, that's hfrn period vault at gmail.com. Peace.